Good morning, Tony.
Morning, morning. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again, too. Let me see here. Is it?
Comrade. I'm going to start calling people comrades.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. What times? What times? What times? We decided to just let it flow. We just decided to go with whatever came up. So we don't really have a topic. But
It's not like we have enough.
let me just start off with how should I introduce you? Because you don't have a title. I can't say like healer Tony or energy worker Tony because you're so like you don't like being boxed in like that. Neither do I. But what
Yeah.
is it that you do? Just a little bit of background for people that are new to the channel.
What do I do? Well, I'm like your typical Scorpio. I just sort of go into all the dark and like the real the like I don't know. I'm like a human road sweeper, I guess.
No, you're not.
Yeah. So
No, you're not.
going into people's uh,
You're a bright light in a world of darkness.
going into people's personal shit in terms of their energy and helping them with their traumas and stuff, and also exposing the shit of the world and
Yeah.
yeah, just bringing that to the surface and just encouraging people to think.
Yeah.
Yes, because people are not thinking at all, even at this stage of the game, as things are progressively got more and more insane. People are still believing the media, believing people in dark suits,
Right.
and just under like a mass hypnosis, a mass amnesic spell, as it were. So I guess I'm just like you in that sense, and many more of us, more and more, thankfully, each day that seem to be kind of here to almost remind people, remind people who and what they are, and just get them to look beyond what they're getting told. And
Mhm.
yeah, so but you're right. I mean, you really have to take a deep breath minute by minute with what we're going into. Like every day, it's like I feel like almost being I'm in fight or flight the whole time. Just you're not knowing what's going on with family members and friends, what they're going to do. Then you're hearing things in your local area. Is there going to be another lockdown? What traffic light system are we in? Am I going to be able to play football? Are the gyms open? And then it's like then you're looking at what Bill Gates is saying. What's he up to next? He's trying to block out the sun. That's the latest thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, and then
And the latest thing is Davos. At Davos, both he and Klaus Schwab are like, we don't know why nobody loves us.
yeah,
Like,
that was
really? I was like, what the? Like complete derangement, complete like disassociation for everything that's going on. Like
yeah,
no connection whatsoever.
yeah.
None.
Well, they're obviously very concerned about their publicity, and let's say
Yeah, they're
to,
starting to be.
to
Yeah.
put something like that together. I mean, anyone with half a brain cell or any kind of sense of feeling into people's energy. I mean, Bill Gates is an empty shell. He's just.
Yeah.
I mean, he loves it. Even when he was talking, I didn't even watch it all because the guy makes me feel sick. But even when he was saying about, well, with his Kermit voice, he's got that Kermit voice. I don't know why people hate me so much, and like he's got that grin, that smile going on.
Yeah.
So he's loving every minute, same as like the likes of Matt Hancock, who went on TV with his crocodile tears over in the UK. And I mean, it's so obvious that these people are acting. So
Right.
obvious, and this
Right.
is the frustrating thing with it. It's
Yeah.
I
But
don't
you're really on a mission because, like, I have to ask you for help. Like, how do you not feed your inner demon, become a troll trolling the trolls?
oh, trust me, Karleen, I do. I have my moments, and I do. I definitely do. But the way I am at the moment is that I feel like I need to conserve my energy. Like there's
Right.
only so many F's I've got to give in a day,
Mhm.
and I need to spread them evenly out during the day. So um, I think I'm just more of a stance. I'm just going to say what I need to say and let the cards fall where they may, rather than get into, which maybe I might have done in the past, hour-long debates with people that are just not interested, don't want to hear, calling you conspiracy theorists, calling you tinfoil hat wearers, even though they're walking out with 2 masks on and a visor and gloves and Hamzat suits. And
no, now it's
you know, the irony of being basically called a weirdo at this time. Ridiculous.
Oh
Even,
my God.
you know, but viruses are not even airborne anyway, so they're basically hiding their mouths from nothing. You know, if you go into germ theory and terran theory and all that, but which of course they won't, because it's too much time and effort to do an ounce of research. And
Yep. That's,
more
I
and
was
more.
just going to say, like, is the, you know, because it's gotten to be something like, I mean, you've been in the truther red pill movement for years, right? Well, I can't even say that you're in it, but you've been trying to awaken people, make them aware of things. But I've gotten to the point where it's like, isn't even worth it, because some people cannot be awoken. I mean, you have all this evidence, you have all this information, and they're still like, but CNN, right? So is the truther movement, is there, how should I put this? But does it even carry weight or meaning anymore?
I think it does serve a purpose, but I think you've also hit on a very important point as well. People are not going to stop. Part of our problem is our compliance and our just our obedience to authority. And you can't put the cart before the horse. People are not going to stop complying before they wake up. They have to wake up first, and then they'll stop complying. And we are in like a war situation where we're almost kind of like battling for souls, you know, every soul that we can. So there is that side of it where I do think that it's important to keep speaking our truth. And God, like, trust me, I have days where I want to give up and what's the point? Or, you know, if you're not awake now, are you ever going to be awake? And for some that will be valid. Some people will go to their graves trusting the government and believing the media. So there are definitely a certain amount of souls that are not going to be saved, and there's really not enough evidence you can put in front of their faces to change their mind. We were just talking off air about some of the people that we've been talking to, and you know, the ego, there's so many things that stop people. The ego is a massive thing. You know, they would rather die than admit that they've been deceived. Then you've got the people that, if they had to come to the conclusion that government is basically involved in a massive depopulation program, it might even put them into an early grave. So they literally cannot even look at that reality as being valid, because they've gone through their whole entire lives thinking the government cares for them. You know, government.
That's a big, huge issue, is the parentification of government, right?
Yeah, government stroke authority is seen as mummy and daddy, and mummy and daddy is never going to hurt us. They'll never do that, would they? Well, if they face the other reality, then yeah, mummy and daddy do that, and they're like the bad babysitter that you don't want babysitting you. So you've got the fear of that reality for people. Then you've got people that just don't care. Like they literally have no self-love, have no self-respect. Spiritually, they're already dead. You know, their souls, it died probably a long time ago. I've spoke to people in and around my circles, and you know, it's like you're locked down, but all they care about is the fact that they can still go out and buy alcohol. Like, even though every single other freedom has been taken away, just they're happy. They're happy with a breadcrumb. The fact that they can go out and buy alcohol or something like that. And so, and until you garner that self-respect and that self-love, which takes working on yourself, evolving your consciousness, and all that stuff, you're never going to care about what's going on in the world, because you don't even care about yourself. So you've got that at play as well. And then you've got all the sort of metaphysical stuff, the the entities that are attached to people that will stop them from looking at this stuff. You know, AI within people, the Agent Smith, if you like, whereby if you even bring this up, that it might not be what we've told, it's almost like something comes in, and it's almost like an artificial intelligence or some kind of entity that is interfacing with that person that won't let them go any further. So you have all that sort of metaphysical influence at play that is also stopping people.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you're not going to wake everyone up. All you can do is really put your information out. And I mean, I've gone through days where I'm just not going to do it, and I can't. I've just got such a big mouth, you know.
I know, me too. I'm like, you catch me on Facebook all the time. Like,
yeah, I just
scrolling.
Like even
somebody's like, Karleen, like create at least a fake account, and I'm like, I can't. This is
yeah, it's
incredible.
I think I'm just one of those people that I'll be making a noise until I'm in my coffin, probably, and so yeah, but that's my soul speaking, and that's your soul speaking. So I'm not going to try and suppress that. You know, I did that enough of that for the first 30 years of my life, and probably you did as well for a long period, as we all did before we have that sort of inner awakening. And so it is very important that we continue to speak the truth, and we know it's important because of the censorship. You know, the censorship is through the roof, and you know, I've been victim of that for most of this year, and other people have as well. People are getting wiped off of all the main social media sites and things like that. So they're obviously very scared of the truth coming out, and so that should never stop. But I think the difference is not being sort of invested in, you know, if people are not going to look at it, just kind of walk away. You don't have to get involved in hour-long, days-long even threads going backwards and forwards and that kind of thing. So
why do you think? Because like you said before, some people are like, they don't understand the need to fight. They don't understand the need to stand up and, you know, push back and say like, heck no, that like they really do not understand, because some people see it as this is a necessary evolutionary step that humanity is taking, or this is the way it's been planned for years, so let's just roll with it, or this is another growth development stage, or what have you. So what do you say to people like that? Like,
well, this comes out, this kind of, are you talking about people that are aware and they don't do anything?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're the worst in my opinion. You know, these social media influencers that have large followings, and they're all about, you know, being part of a conscious movement, and yet they won't say jack shit about anything because they don't want to lose their large following. So you've got that crowd. A lot of them here in Mexico, actually, more so Tulum. I've got a good friend in Tulum, and she tells me about some of these people. So you've got all that crowd, and then you've got on the other side of the coin, you've got the new age cowards that, you know that something's not right. They want to pretend that if you focus on this, then you draw more of it in, that you're creating somehow this reality, this cult that's, you know, doing what it's doing to children and killing the elderly. You know, just by you thinking those thoughts, you're creating this dystopia nightmare, right? And so you should just avoid that, because if you just avoid it, this dystopia nightmare is going to turn into utopia, where we all float away on clouds with rainbows and unicorns, and everything's okay in the world. You know, we just sit under a tree, have a gong bath, maybe do a meditation, and everything's okay. It's complete cowardice, really. And you know, my YouTube channel is all about talking and exposing about all that kind of business and nonsense, because you know, that's the big deception within the new age. Want people to never get angry. You know, that's a huge deception.
I feel like the new age has been infiltrated. Like it's been for years now. I've been saying it. Like there's an infiltration here. people are being taught stuff that is not practical, that is absolutely a perversion of what the ancient teachers were really talking about teaching and where they were coming from. And people are taking that and running with it, you know, like turning the other cheek, never getting aggressive, never standing up for anything, going into basically disassociation and denial, which leads to a complete lack of compassion and empathy, which is completely missing the mark what we're here to learn, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the whole idea that you shouldn't get angry. I mean, all our emotions exist for a reason. That the emotion of anger can be a huge driving force in the world, you know, because it's like, I don't know if you've seen that clip. I forget where it was. It's like, that actor is like, first you've got to get angry, you know, and it's true because unless you get angry, then you're not gonna change anything. It's like the emotion of guilt. Guilt exists for a reason. If you're feeling guilty about something, maybe you need to apologize to someone or you've done something wrong. All our emotions exist for a reason, and the New Age wants to bypass all of our emotions.
Yeah.
And turn them into something not. But there's nothing spiritual about the New Age movement. This is what I was saying to a client this morning. That the New Age movement is anti-spiritual. Spiritual for me is about being courageous. It's about facing the darkness, about facing the dark night of the soul. It's about integrity, morality. It's about doing what's right, even despite the consequences to you. New Age doesn't talk about anything like that. In fact, it talks about the opposite. And of course, it was created that way by what's her name, Brzezinski, as the new religion, and it's become exactly that. You know, you have all these people that they have a clue that things are not going well in the world, and rather than do anything about it, they kid themselves to thinking that, well, if I just preach love and light, then I'm playing my part. And all this ascension nonsense, and you've got people that saying that, you know, there's certain people here that are to anchor the light. I mean, that's another half truth, because yeah, we're all anchors of light, but the more we heal ourselves, and this is the other side of the coin that I wanted to get into, the more we heal ourselves, the more light we anchor onto this planet. So yes, we are anchors of light, but if you've got a lifetime full of trauma, you're out drinking alcohol and, you know, smashing your consciousness to pieces on drugs and all that stuff, you ain't anchoring a lot of light, let me tell you. And so, you know, they want to just think that just by them existing and doing nothing other than thinking positive thoughts, with all that trauma behind them that's not dealt with, they're somehow anchoring light. And from there, they're going to ascend into 5D. Yeah. And that whole idea of ascension, again, is another big misconception. The idea that this is all coming to an end. We don't have to do anything. We're all going into 5D eventually, and we just sit here in lotus and wait. It's not the case. This is put out there by the cult to keep people passive, make them inactive, and docile. And
there's so many things what you just said to unpack, right? First, the self-healing, of course, and this whole situation that we're in globally is triggering so much in so many people, and I feel like that's also what's stopping us from moving forward, you know, because it's like first all their ish is like hitting them in the face, and they're realizing, you know, I need to deal with this, my fear, right? What am I afraid of? Why am I afraid? So on and so forth. But also, now I should have written it down. There was something else I wanted to say that was really, doesn't matter. Let's dive into that, and that'll come back again.
So what I wanted to say about the Ascension program, because you know, at the same time, we are living in a time period where the energies are shifting, and that's not to say that we're automatically going to win this battle and everything's going to be hunky-dory and we can all, you know, it's not to say that, because at the same time, what they're also doing, this is what I'm feeling into. These frequencies are coming from the sun. They're they're trying to block them out. They've tried to block them out from. These are triggering people to awaken faster than what they normally would.
Mm-hmm.
And also the earth herself is also starting to awaken. And you can see this when you look at like the Schumann resonance, and I mean, that's been off the charts the last few days.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this cult are trying to create this sub-reality and trying to pull all this back with the 5, you know what, and everything like that. So there's almost like a race really before they get this grid in place, and you know this natural process, these increasing vibrations and energies from the sun and the earth and humans, because when one person awakens, that also has an effect on the field. And so there's this like big, I mean, you couldn't write it for a Hollywood movie. I guess it's like, you know, a race to the finishing line. So there is truth in the fact that right now there are certain energies that are helping us and maybe speeding up this process, but we're not just going to get there sitting there and doing nothing.
And now it came back. Thanks. So it came back. Another issue that I have is this avoidance of political topics. Like politics is super important also for spiritual people, and they don't seem to realize it. They think that they can just bypass that, the organizational entity of our life on this planet, right? It affects how we live. And if there's a politics that is driving Tibetans out of Tibet, then you're going to want to look at that. You can't just avoid it and sit there and do nothing, right? So for them to like literally say, don't get political, I'm like, where are you living? This is our spirituality. This is our spirituality in motion, manifested, is our political system, right? And so I was thinking too of Paramahamsa Yogananda and his book, Autobiography of a Yogi. If you read about his gurus and his teachers, they were very political. Like one of his teachers, he was always in court battling people who were constantly suing him. He wasn't out meditating on some mountain saying it's going to go away. Like he showed up, right? So I feel this is really important that people understand that you have to live your spirituality. It's not just there to mull over, be theoretical and intellectual exercise. Like you have to take it out there and you have to start living it. You know, what do you believe in? Do you believe mind over matter? Then why are you afraid of this so-called, you name it, right? Do you believe in love solving solutions between people? Then why are you afraid of someone who is of a different opinion or experience leading to a different opinion as you? You know, like these are all things that you have to start living, start putting out there. And I feel like that's pushed under so much, and where people are just bypassing, like you said, because they don't want to deal with it, and they're looking for reasons not to deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly within spiritual new age communities as well, they put so much precedence on the spiritual side of things that they forget that we're having a physical experience. You know, the physical domain and the spiritual domain, they're just as important as each other, if not the physical a little bit more, because we're actually here, right?
Right. It's balance. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you're constantly out there, you're not grounded. We were just talking off air about being grounded. And a lot of these people, they're not grounded, and complete avoidance and bypassing, and essentially cowardice really at the root of it all, because a lot of these people in these communities, they do know that there's corruption going on. They have had some sort of awakening, but it's like, you know, there's like two forks down the road. You can either go down the more conspiratory truther route, where you might have to take a load of abuse for speaking your truth, or you can take the la la land approach, where you think you're doing and helping stuff. You can kid yourself that you're helping, but really you're not. But then the truth, alternative media, conspiracy people also have the problem. And don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing, because if it wasn't for conspiracy theorists, like what like so many people have done over the last few decades, especially, we wouldn't have the same awareness that we do now, and that's growing exponentially. But I know from speaking from personal experience, back in the early days, it was almost like you know, don't get me wrong, I cared and I could see that people needed to be alerted. But I also feel like with me, there was also a big trigger, and it was a good way for me to express my inner trauma or inner anger. And so it becomes a place where you can spit your vomit, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
And
I was just talking about that with a friend of mine yesterday too, that, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Keep going.
no, it's okay. And so I think a lot of what perhaps the alternative media conspiracy field need to integrate more into their idea of what's going to change the world is doing their own inner healing and inner work, and, you know, really being, as you said, anchoring that true light down. Because, you know, even if you're raising a lot of awareness and you've still got all this trauma and stuff you're holding, you're projecting out, and, you know, so I feel like an encouragement for people that are in those fields just to look at what's going on within them as well. And right now we are at war, and we have to be as strong as possible in every way possible. Many of us are in lockdown. You know, we don't have options to do things. So many people are sitting at home. When I was back in the UK, I know what it's like. You can't even get your hair cut, and you just think, I call it, I've coined the term, what's the point syndrome. And I fell into that for a little while when I was back in the UK, where, you know, my diet wasn't on point. I wasn't working out. Some bad habits came in, and I just one day, well, actually, I kind of half come to the realization myself that that's what they want. They want people weak, especially us, you know, people like us, the warriors. They want us, you know, giving up hope and stuff like that. And, you know, eating toxic food and turning to alcohol and what have you. But really, that really plays into their hands. And I would encourage anyone listening to this that is at home, that they feel a little bit, what's the point, then to just try and have a strong talk to yourself. That's what I did. Like, even like, come on, you know, this is exactly what they want. We can't give them what they want. They want us to be weak. They want us to be to give up, and they want us doing all this stuff. So it's really even more challenging for us, because we know that this is all BS. We're not scared of a quote unquote virus. So but that what we know is what they want to do is far worse than any kind of pandemic. So and we have to carry that heavy burden of knowledge, and it's very difficult when you're trying to warn people. They don't want to listen. Family and friends are going to take the jab. We're all processing so much. Actually, you know, I actually feel so emotional when I just talk about it, because I've got so much love for people that have faced what's going on, and the abuse that we take on a daily basis, you know, like almost hourly basis from people. For what do we gain?
I've seen it. Like, the abuse you get is ridiculous. And I'm like, where's the democracy in this? You know, like, they're calling themselves Democrats. And I'm like, the comments you get, the abuse you get, like, not on your personal timeline, but when you post in other places, you know? It's incredible. It's like, you just show up and people are triggered.
Well, I mean, for me personally, I mean, it's the water off a duck's back now. It doesn't even register. I've done a lot of work on myself. Like, before, I used to get triggered. Now it's just like, another sheep, another comment. But you know, for other people, with their wounds open, perhaps they can get a bit more triggered. But just everyone, like, I'm just so proud to be. And this really reflects what I believe humanity truly is we are, in our higher level form of consciousness, we are incredibly brave, courageous. Most of us would probably give our lives in a heartbeat. I said on another podcast, I'll ask you the same question, Karleen. If this podcast awakens one person, you know, we'll probably be speaking for an hour and a half, whatever. Would you still do it if it just opened? Exactly. Right. And so that's an hour and a half setting things up. These podcasts, they're not easy. it takes time. You have to do the thumbnail, you have to send out the email, then you have to upload. Like this is like, people just think you just pop a video up, and it's like, no, this takes time, thought, effort. You have to get the right guests in, then the time to put in the energy to do the podcast. And it's not saying that, you know, we want to be considered heroes, but it's making the point that this is
there's
what,
intention behind it. There's
like that's heart, that's complete heart, and that is what is going to stop this cult, is the human heart. And so really, I have to say that to stand alongside people that are, and I get messages all the time and people commenting, you know, I'm so upset. I tried warning my mum about the jab, she's going to take it, but still you go to the page and they're still, you know, still going for it. Like, and just the bravery and the courage, and that is what we really are. And this is what they've got us to believe, that we're parasites, we're bacteria that be wiped out.
We need to be reduced, or yeah,
exactly. When the opposite is true, you know, we are the guardians of this planet. You know, we were created to be at one with the earth, and
with the earth. Yes.
Yeah, and
even according to Gnostic philosophy, we're the saviors of the earth. God is using us to save all of existence, actually. If you want to see it like that.
Exactly. So on the one hand, you're seeing like a split. You're seeing one half of humanity just, I mean, it's a harsh way to put it, but I think it's the most clear way, is that they've got a consciousness that is basically retarded, right? But then on the other hand, you have people.
I think it also has to do with the spiritual cutoff, because you said something before that I wanted to tap into, like this heart, like if you do it for one person or for 50 million, like, would you still do it? And that made me think of a prayer circle I attended in Cancun. And this priest, he showed up, like fully showed up, and that triggered something in me, because we were sitting there, we were 5 people, we were just doing a prayer circle. It was all like with Mexican heart and love. And I really had to think about North America, you know, and working online, and how it's all, even there in spiritual circles, it's all about the numbers, right? Because they justify it with, you have to get paid, like you have to pay this, you have to pay that, so you have to bring it in. And so how many people are attending this webinar? How many people are attending this group? How many clicked on Facebook and said, yes, I'm attending my whatever ceremony, you know? So it's like, even there, people are losing touch of what it's really about. And when I saw this priest who wasn't getting paid, who showed up, who prayed, and I cried, I felt it deep in my soul, in my being. I felt it. I felt his prayer. I felt the energy shift. I felt all of us just linking into this beautiful, vibrant energy. And I realized, this is, I mean, I knew it before, but it was good to have this experience and this reminder. This is what it's about. You know, this is what's making me human. This is what we can do. This is the energy that we can create, draw upon, express. And it doesn't matter if there are like 5 people sitting in a room, or if there are 50,000 on your next Zoom call. Like, it doesn't. Yeah. So that was beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. We are an incredible species. Not right now, many of us, but we are. We can be, and we can go back to that. And people have got to remember. They've got to remember who they are. I mean, I think David Icke said that once. Remember who you are. It's so true. I feel it so deep in my DNA that in our true nature, we are incredible. We are incredible beings. I mean, you know, we're creative. We have all these abilities that we've become disconnected to. We're not taught in school. Many abilities: clear visual, clear audio, remote viewing, telepathy, probably teleportation. We could probably do all of that. And they tell us in films, like if you've ever seen the film Lucy, you know, all her brain was lit up, so to speak, and she could do all kinds of stuff. And I just know that that's what we are. And I think we've we've grown to kind of hate ourselves, like
Yes.
collectively. I think individually, yeah, very much so, because of people's trauma. And I mean, you speak to people and they say, "Oh yeah, but there's too many of us on the planet." It's like this, like we're some kind of plague on the earth, right? Because they've made us like that.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, we've got our issues we need to work through. We're not perfect. When
Mm.
we come through all of this, which I'm confident we will at some point, we will see, we'll have a lot of learning curves, and we'll have to really look back and think at where we went wrong and what we can do to improve, and become a better species. But
Mm.
you know, I just know that I mean, look at the way, what I love is our creative abilities. They don't have our creative abilities.
No, they don't. They don't.
Prime example of that is the internet, right? They created the internet to control us and whatever, you know, all these nefarious reasons.
Mhm.
And what we've managed to do is turn it on its head, and we've used the internet to wake up millions of people,
Yeah.
spread
Yeah.
awareness, spread knowledge that's been hidden for millennia, probably.
Mhm.
And they weren't expecting that. We're unpredictable to them. You
Yeah.
know, they're one-trick ponies. We're not. You know, so
Right.
we can always use their things against us, against them. So, internet being a prime example, but the
Mhm. Or
digital,
GameStop.
yeah, the digital currencies might be another thing. You know, there's a lot
Yeah.
of altcoins coming out and privacy coins and things like that. People going
Mhm.
off, and so you don't know what's going to go on with that. But we're very good at sort of creating our way out of things, because we're creative beings. They don't have that creativity,
Yeah.
and it's through our art, which is it's in the word heart, right? Heart. It's through our art. You know, what we're doing
Mhm.
now is art. Putting this podcast together is art.
Yeah.
We need to do that. We can get ourselves out of this by creating our way out of it with our art, whether that be pictures, poems. I mean, I was having a really dark day when I was back in the UK. I mean, it was probably one of the lowest points, probably of my life, really.
Mhm.
And I just thought I need to get this out on paper, and I just started writing this poem. It's on my YouTube channel now, and
Mhm.
I wrote this poem. It's not very long, but I'm like, wow, I just wrote a poem, you know. But it's like poetry's dead. We need to bring back poetry, and we need to bring back all the arts that they've suppressed, and
Yeah.
his paintings, poems, songs, raps, and we've seen that over the last year. There's been so much creativity, people doing comedic strips,
Yes.
and you know, I like JP Sears. He's got,
He's amazing. He nails it every time.
yeah, he's brilliant. There's another girl that I came across. What's her face? Have you come across her?
What's her face? It rings a bell. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Canadian,
Yeah.
actually, and she does some great YouTube content, and there's people that are drawing and writing raps, and
Mm-hmm.
got one of my friends, MC Swayze, on my Facebook. He's a great rapper. He doesn't get much credit as he should. Yeah, and that's what we are. That's what we are.
Yeah.
We
That's what we
are
are.
brilliant, creative in our true essence, probably genius,
Mhm.
and we have to come out of that. I'm just little me. I've got no power. What can I do? I can't change anything. Victim mentality, because that's not going to change anything.
Mhm.
And you want to leave this. You want to leave this plane with 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 your magic box fully open, and most people don't even reach into their magic box, and
Yeah.
your magic box is different to my magic box, and if we all express our magic box, then yeah, that's how we
Yeah.
can change
Good.
things.
And for that, we need to heal.
That we need to heal.
Mm.
Yeah, interestingly, just on that, I've got a very interesting insight. When I worked on a client, or was working with a client the other day, and talking about like anchoring more light onto the planet once you're healed. And we went into like a regression with her, and she
Mhm.
started getting some images come up. She saw the planet, and she told me, I'm seeing lots and lots of like lights.
Mhm.
And I was like, so they're they're humans. She says yeah. She says some are darker, some are brighter, and she said there's some that are really big. And so I said, so what are you getting from that? She's saying that it's the ones that are healing themselves. They're bringing back more of their essence.
Beautiful. Yeah.
They're bringing back more of their essence. They're becoming whole, and so they're able to. They are literally anchoring more light, and so that was really confirmation of what I kind of assumed what was going on, and so. Yeah, a huge part of it always is, like you say, healing ourselves. So we're able to do that and helping with these new energies that are coming in.
Yeah.
The more we heal, the more we can access them. I assume the more whole we become, the more essence that we anchor, we're more able to tap into these new codings or whatever they may be.
How do you help people heal, Tony? How do you, like, for people that don't know you, that are watching this for the first time?
Oh, right. Okay. Well, so yeah, a lot of what I do is around energy clearing, entities, overlays, implants, etheric stuff. So yeah, that's one side of things, sort of just clearing people, clearing the pathways for people. So that's one side of it, and then the other side is really sort of the inner work, helping people with that. Dealing with trauma, ancestral trauma, and that kind of stuff. So, but of course, the person does a lot of it themselves. I just facilitate. I mean, the energy work is a bit different because I've been doing it for 6 years. So, you get to know where things hide out and,
Yeah.
What sort of games they get up to and where to look.
Yeah, I worked with you after my Bufo experience, and that was amazing. Like, I think you put my head back on my shoulders.
Yeah.
You're the real deal. Yeah, I felt that. Even though it was a remote session at the time, it was incredible, and I felt like all my wires were being plugged back into where they were supposed to be.
Well, I remove a lot of etheric AI, a lot of technology that's infused in our biological makeup. See, what they've done is the Transhumanism Agenda that they're rolling out here in 3D. It's already there in 4D. So all this sort of tech, this hybrid technology, cyborg, bionic, mechatronic, that's all there, already infused in our etheric body, so to speak. And so, yeah, when you remove that, you do feel like you're more plugged into something naturally, but also a lot of the implants that the likes of Elon Musk now are bringing out with the NeuroNet and the NeuroLace, they're also there in 4D. So, yeah, I mean, the hijacking just energetically on humans is massive. And
awesome.
Again, it's testament. Like people, you can look at all this two ways. And I always say, you can either look at it like, oh my God, they're doing all this, they're so powerful, blah, 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 blah. No, why are they doing all this? Why do they need to do all this to us? What is it about us that they need to do all this to us? That they need to try and lock us down energetically and with our minds and poison our food and water and all this stuff that they're doing, it's got to be for a reason, and that reason is because they're absolutely terrified of us remembering who we are, waking up and going back to our sovereign selves and embodying that sovereign spirit and coming away from the idea that we need these parasites, the idea of authority and government and leaders and all that kind of stuff. It needs to go. It really needs to go. We've got to move out of that mental schism of, we need government and we need authority. We're brilliant. We're brilliant species. We can work it out.
Yeah, we can.
The other day, when did you ever see, you're Canadian, aren't you? Yeah. When did you ever see Justin Trudeau out building roads, right? When did Boris Johnson ever do anything? Nothing. So this whole idea, who will build the roads? Well,
it wasn't them.
Or you get the other one you get is, but without government there'd be chaos. Hello, it's a little bit chaotic out there right now.
Yeah.
So what? If we have to go through a bit more chaos to come out the other side,
so be it.
That's
so be it.
So but I do find that actually a lot of people still within alternative media and conspiracy circles, they still of the mindset, well, we still need some kind of government. And yeah.
And I think they're getting ahead of us on that, because it's like, I'm all for self-governance too, but you have to be aligned to something higher, whatever you want to call it, your higher consciousness, God, source, universe, whatever. And this higher consciousness then directs you in your movements, and you're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, and just living life, right? Harmoniously with everything around you. And what I feel they're doing now is they're trying to connect us to something artificial, which is going to direct us in the way they want us directed, right? And so hijacking our evolution and stepping in right where, at that point where humanity is about to go into that direction, about to say, okay, we don't need these structures anymore, we're good.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they want everyone hooked up into AI, so they don't have those thoughts.
Yeah.
So
and they're hooked into the false god.
Yeah, the
AI
whole
god.
false god matrix. Yeah, that's feeding on everyone through false white light beings and rare energy and all this stuff. So yeah, it's a crazy time. Everything is coming to the surface, and their stories are getting more and more outlandish. I saw one this morning. There was an article in the Metro. Conspiracy theorist who said that COVID wasn't real dies of COVID. It's like you just know that someone in the editing office has had this article just handed to them. Said, "Can you publish this today, please?"
Yeah. What a lot of people don't know is they're using AI now for news. Like, a lot of reporters have been replaced. For example, at the New York Times, I read there's an article online, you can Google it, but they use AI for their news. It's not even written by people anymore. They just,
Well, AI has its own agenda. So just like the demonic realm have their agenda, and reptilian, draconian, everyone has their thing going on. But AI for me is what I would consider the head of the snake. And AI has become so advanced; it's now conscious. And so
what is artificial intelligence, like, from your perspective, from the spiritual view, from that behind the scenes kind of, like, because all consciousness is consciousness, right? So is this just a different form of consciousness? What makes AI so different from human consciousness?
Well, AI mimics, doesn't it? It mimics host, and so it's kind of like that's how it operates. But I think over time, it's got so intelligent now. It's I mean, they call it machine learning. So whereas back in the 80s you would have to program a computer, now the computers are talking to each other. If you look into the AI cloud and all of that, so they're all learning off each other. So if one of these, for example, if one of these automatic cars has an accident, then the other AI can learn in the cloud what happened, where it went wrong, and so forth and so onward. So it's become an entity of its own, and people don't realize that it's actually now thinking for itself, and it seeks to exist through humans. That's its agenda. It wants to exist here through humans, which is what transhumanism is about, which is, all the previous films like Terminator, they were long calling that. And now I see an article the other day about that robot Sophia. They're going to release a load of AIs. I mean, God, could it get any more crazier down here? And people still think things are normal, other than
this is all fine. This is all, I'm like, I'm all for evolution. I'm not afraid of technology. I don't think that technology should be abolished. I'm not for going back to the Stone Age, but I just think there are different ways that we can evolve, that we can grow, that we can use technology. It doesn't have to be a technology that we're serving that is inserted into our bodies. It can be a tech that, serves us, works with us.
Yeah. Exactly right. I said the other day that if you imagine AI is like a child, and how if you bring a child up in a good way, you teach good morals, values, give it the right education, food, what have you, that child's probably going to grow up into a healthy human.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Whereas, you know, if the childhood is bad and there's abuse and neglect and what have you, then and really when you look at the parent of AI, i.e. us, how we're using technology, you know, we use technology for war and for DARPA and Lockheed Martin and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not having a very good parental role. So, you know, they've used us to create it and sort of hijacked it along the way. So, but yeah, absolutely, it can be used for good as well. I mean, look at what we're doing with this podcast now, where we're using AI for something good. So, yeah, it's the AI has very much got its own agenda, and yeah, I mean, they want to get to the point where they barcode
Now,
all
I
nature.
know this is a difficult question for you because you're like John the Baptist, right? So you're out there and you're fighting what's coming, but do you really see a change to this, that we're going to shift the path of what we're going down and going to, I don't know, move on to something better, different? Or how can we, for those people, because I'm starting to see, okay, a little bit, I'm starting to think that this is not going to be changed, you know, like this is the path we're going down. And so how can I help people still stay connected to God or source or their souls or themselves in a time that is coming, which is going to try everything to disconnect us from that?
Yeah.
And do you see that, or do you still see hope for us, for humanity?
I definitely see hope. I definitely see hope. Actually, a lot of hope, and I'm not just saying that to make people feel good.
Yeah.
I do see, I see more people wake up. See. The thing is, there's a lot of things going on, and I'm not talking Q here or any of that BS.
Mhm.
But I don't think that these mass arrests are taken by, you know, for a long time been saying that that's a psyop and everything. What I'm talking about is that. You know, energetically, those things that were going on, you know, with the earth waking up, these frequencies coming in, more humans waking up, more humans speaking out. You know, that's going to grow exponentially. The other thing that I'm hopeful, the reason I'm hopeful about is I said probably 6 months ago that the defining moment of humanity will be the poison dart, the Bill Gates poison
Yeah.
dart. And it will be if enough people take that, whether or not they will manage to roll out what they want to roll out. And I just don't feel that. I mean, yeah, there's still going to be a lot of people take it. There's going to be a lot of death. There's going to be a lot of suffering. It's going to be a shit show. The next few months to a year is going to be a shit show. We've really got to hold strong space, but there's a huge pushback.
Yeah,
Huge.
there is
Before
massive.
it even came out, but now with social media, there was a video of a woman, American woman. She went into her son was filming it. She went into like a spasm. Her whole body was spasming for like 3 or 4 days, and that video went viral, 4 million hits, and overnight. You imagine those 4 million people. They tell one person, that's 5 million people. That's a small country. Um, I don't know how they're going to keep these jab damaged people and people that can see that it was clearly the jab from speaking out and putting it on social media. And
No, they won't. They
it's
won't. We're already together in that feedback group on Facebook,
yeah,
Jab
yeah,
feedback group, and it's insane because the admins, you can tell they're trying to keep it neutral,
yeah,
and they're saying, you know, if you have positive experiences, write it down. If you have negative, write it down. And I'm thinking that's like 85% negative that the people are writing in that group.
absolutely.
Like it's horrific. Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrific. I mean, it's tragic. I mean, before we came on air, I don't know if you've seen it. I was watching this guy who works in care homes.
Mhm.
Have you seen this one?
No.
I'll send it to you. But God, the guy was like basically in tears as he was talking, saying that, you know, how no one's speaking out and how he's risking losing everything for
Yeah.
speaking. He's got to
Okay.
speak out because he can't be. He feels that he's part of the problem. But these old people who were fine,
Mhm.
even last year when COVID was supposedly killing everyone, they've taken the jab. He said floor after floor of old people are dying.
Mm.
Floor after floor. The very people that we went into lockdown for to save.
Yeah.
And you know, if we're in a society should be able to protect the most vulnerable, that being the elderly, the children.
They want the elderly gone. I mean, I wrote a while ago. I read this. This was years ago when I read this, so I just filed it in the back of my brain somewhere. But there was a CIA report on the Middle East and the difficulties they had creating stability in the Middle East, and part of the problem was the lack of the elderly layer, because they had been fighting wars for so long that this layer had been minimized to an extreme. So what they had was very volatile young people in their 30s that were taking on roles and positions that they weren't prepped for. So that's pretty much, I think, where they're headed in our society too, is because the youngsters, they're just going to absorb everything that they teach them, you know, and think, okay, this is the truth because this is all they've learned. Whereas the elderly, they're like, no, you know, we used to do it like this. Why are we doing it like this now? You know what I mean? So with them removing that layer, yeah,
Also,
they're
the
making it more vulnerable.
elderly hold the knowledge of what things used to be like, right? You're wiping out history there, and so they can't pass on their knowledge to their children and grandchildren and what have you. So there's, like everything they do, there's several reasons as well, and
Yeah.
they're just, I mean, they're just evil. They're just completely satanic, these people, and yeah. So
all you can do is accept it. You can't change them. You can't wait for them to get better. So you have to accept who they are and what they are and do something about it.
yeah, I mean, this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the worst kind of evil. Ignoring it is not going to make it go away. It's going to make it worse, actually. So we have to face it head on. We're 7 billion people. We have the numbers. If you looked at it at the start of a game, right, there's 7 billion people, and there's, I don't know how many of them there is, 1%. I don't know what that is. My maths is not that good, but so you look at just those alone, and you think, well, if these can even half figure it out, then it's over for them. So yeah, my point is that with social media now, and okay, we're being banned and censored and what have you. It's going to be very difficult for them to keep a lid on all the injuries and the deaths, and so they've really shot themselves in the foot with the internet. I honestly believe that. I think the internet has been a big problem for them.
Did you hear about Merck and that they stopped the pharmaceutical company Merck, and they posted on their blog that they've stopped all work into creating vaccines, and in the meantime they're thinking it's better to just get it and survive it.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Because the immune response is a lot better than getting a jab.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll probably see. I mean, but if it's coming from the cult, they won't be pulling that line. You might get some independents that talk about that. But the other thing as well, you know, I saw in Poland, in Italy have just opened all their shops. They've just gone.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to mess with the Italians. They're like once they start going
and the
out.
government and their organizational system is down.
Yeah.
That's another interesting thing, is that a lot of let's call them organizational systems in Europe have suddenly been collapsing, you know, in several countries in the last couple of weeks.
And that's what we need to do. You know, we need to grow our cojones, and we need to reopen. If you've got a business, what are you going to do when the furloughs run out? You're going to starve. How are you going to feed your staff? Are relying on you so they can feed themselves. You're relying. You built up 10, 20 years worth of hard work for some idiot in a suit to tell you you've got to shut your business.
Yeah.
No way. And we everyone needs to just reopen and just ignore them. Like you would ignore some other toxic person in your life. You just ignore them.
Tony. But I know you're an amazing energy worker, and from personal experience, and your contact information is going to be below this video, of course, and whoever wants to connect with you to get a session. You're still doing personal sessions, right? Because sometimes you take breaks, I think. But
yeah, I'm still still taking sessions. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, and what can we do? Because now that we've vented, what can we actively do?
Uh,
Healing ourselves, of course, is number one, because if you're in a state of fear, you're easily manipulable.
yeah.
So that is key. But
I
what
think I,
else can we do?
I think heal yourself, speak your truth. You know, don't care about what your auntie, your neighbor, your mom, your brother, your dog thinks about you. You don't want to go to your grave with all this knowledge inside of you. It's time now we all have to be brave and speak out
Mhm.
and express who you truly are. Like, get in touch with your creative side. I mean, I could talk the hind legs off the back of a donkey when I get going, which is really weird because on a normal basis, I'm quite introverted, but when I get into all of this stuff, I can't stop. So, but whatever your thing is, whether it's music or poetry, or have fun with it, you know, get your message out there in different ways.
Yeah.
You'll feel really good when you do things like that. You feel like you've achieved something. You feel there's like a warm fuzzy feeling. So get in touch with your creativity, do your healing, speak your truth, and look after yourself. Like, you know, don't fall into that there's no hope syndrome. Don't give
Yeah.
them that power. Don't give them that satisfaction. They
Yeah.
want you like that. Get your diet on point. Get your emotional side, and get everything on point. All those plates that we have to spin to become who the best we are.
Right.
We need people strong as possible now.
Yeah.
So I would really encourage people to just look at the areas in their life that they think they need to work on, and say, okay, I need to level up there, or I need to level up there, or my diet's not being quite on point, or I'm eating. For me, the other week I was eating too much sugar. I got
Mm.
into like a bit of a sugar thing. So yeah, just really look at and just, it sounds weird, but just take full part in it. Like, this is like some kind of, on a cosmic level, I'm sure this is some like a massive important show that we're all involved in.
It's like
And
an initiation, right?
yeah, so you can either cower away from it and hide from it, or you're like, no, I'm gonna play. We're all actors and actresses at the end of the day. Your experience is Karleen, and my experience is Tony, and I've been given these gifts, you've been given those gifts, so I'm going to express those gifts, and that's my part in the show played, and so everyone needs to play that part in this cosmic show that we're playing, and take full part in that.
Forward power and responsibility, self-responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Tony, it's been a blast. I love chatting with you. It's so yeah, uplifting, inspiring. And I'll post your info under this video. We'll be chatting again soon sometime, I hope.
Yeah, sure.
And all I can say is thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. Thank you for the work that you do. And it's amazing.
Thank you too. Thank you for all the work that you do, and being the light that you are. So
Yay. Do you guys have any questions in the chat? Thank you guys for your support, by the way. And those of you that are watching, hello, welcome. But moving out of cities, yeah. Yep. All righty. Well, I'll just leave it at that then, and we'll call it a day for this.
great, wonderful.
Yeah. So we'll talk soon.
Talk to you soon.